Hey guys, welcome to Baby Girl's World. Those who know what they're in for. Those who don't, stay tuned, bitch.
You guys know that I am related to the president.
What, dude? I don't know if you should brag about that, honestly, but no, you're not.
My mom is a pilot.
Dude, your mom's a nurse.
Dad, he's a rock star.
Your dad's a truck driver. What is going on? What are you doing?
My dad has jammed out with Metallica before.
Your dad doesn't even like Metallica. Are you having a stroke?
You don't believe me? Why?
Because you're lying, stupid. Like, I'm your best friend. Even though right now I'm kind of starting to rethink my decision on that. But in all seriousness, what's going on?
Well, you know what? You don't have to believe me.
Because you're lying, dingus. I can't. I just can't. Dude, you literally said yesterday that your mom, the pilot, was coming to pick you up, and she came in scrubs, and you said she came from the hospital. So...
I mean, I don't remember that.
Of course you don't. She's a pilot. I forgot.
Whatever. You don't know what you're talking about.
Pause to read this because I think that Gypsy Rose is a pathological liar. Definitely. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, bitch.
So, hey, how are you guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Baby Girl's World. I'm so happy to be making some videos again and be feeling better. My butt doesn't hurt so bad. Holla fucking Luya, right? So, again, welcome to Baby Girl's World. If you have been here before, like in the beginning of the video, it says, you know what you're getting into. If you're new here, well, stay tuned, bitch. It's fun here. It's fun. It's a really great time here. I hope you vibe with me. Subscribe to the channel if you do. Please like the video. I mean, all of that stuff. Also, if you wouldn't mind, after you leave a comment or something, just swipe it over. Swipe the comment box over to the left and hype the video up for me. I would really, truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. You know, that's all I expect out of you. Okay, subscribe, like, and hype. How difficult? No, I'm kidding. Also, become a member. It's $1.99 for everything. I'm getting the quirks all worked out so that I can do. I got my my Halloween vlog I'm working on that I did at a haunted house and pumpkin patch type thing, and that's going to be for members only if you want to see it. And then also I got my vlogs coming for. We're going to be doing Vlogmas every day in December till Christmas, only for members. Okay. So, and then I'm going to try to do some member-only live streams, but it's like sometimes it just doesn't always work out because, you know, times conflict and all that stuff. So it's hard right now, but we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We will figure it out, bitch. Oh, what time is it? It's time for the member of this video, bitch. It's Elmo. I love her. She's so sweet and awesome, my Elmo. I do really love her. I hope you're having a blessed day, my love. And then we've got our 5 featured subscribers. We've got Blackbeard. Follow my TikTok bubble. Jennifer. Hi. And Adam Kate or Kate or whatever, how you say it. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for all the love and support. I love you guys. Anyways, so I wanted to go over this comment that I found that Gypsy Rose wrote to Audrey, and I have it in my emails, I believe. Okay, here it is. Gypsy Rose left this comment to Audrey J. on the Digging Deeper with forensic psychologist Dr. John Mathias. And she says, did you not listen to this creator? I haven't lied about my story. It's my life. I lived it and no one else. It doesn't matter the rumors, conspiracy theories, or slander that gets spread on this app. Gypsy Rose, you have lied about a lot. I mean, every time we turn around, you are trying to cover something up with something else, or there's some lies in your past that we've all figured out. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, the story is the same, and I'm never going to say that my mother was a loving mother or a good mother when she wasn't. Yes, she was. You are so fucking sick to sit there and talk shit about your mother after you unalived her the way that you did. The story is the same, and I'm never going to say that my mother was a loving mother or a good mother when she wasn't, just because she was not formally diagnosed with NBP. And that says right there everything we need to know, because she was never formally diagnosed. Therefore, squash it. It never was a thing. Your lawyer came up with it. God damn. No doctors came up with it. One doctor came on that had never even seen your mother before, only made assumptions after death, saying that she had it, but he also said that you were a malingerer and a sociopath. There's that. It doesn't mean she didn't have it. He had every symptom of it, and think about it this way. If she had been diagnosed well, then my abuse would have been ended with her going to prison. But to dismiss her having MVP just for the simple fact she wasn't formally diagnosed does not mean she didn't have it. It does not clear or absolve her wrongdoing. Gypsy fucking Rose, your mother may have conned to make sure that you were spoiled ass rotten, but your mother did not have NBP. You were malingering. You are a sociopath, and you are sitting there talking shit like your mother just... Oh, that makes me so upset. It really does. I'm going to have a heart attack over here talking about this bitch. I swear to God. But I want to touch on what is called pseudologia fantastica, or in layman's terms, pathological lying. That's a very fancy way of saying it, though, before. But how does pathological lying pertain to Gypsy Rose's 1Q21.1 microdeletion? Well, I happened to ask ChatGPT that question. And also, why does she believe her own bullshit, you know? But let's get into it. ChatGPT says that as pathological lying is not directly a symptom of the 1Q21.1 microdeletion, it can be caused by the different mental issues and cognitive delays that the 1Q21.1 microdeletion causes, in which Gypsy Rose, you very much had just about every motherfucking symptom that the 1Q21.1 microdeletion causes. Okay? So I have no doubt in my mind that you also developed the mental issues that come along with it, including signs of schizophrenia. Okay? And with that being said, the pathological lying that you do is because of the mental issues caused by the 1Q21.1 microdeletion, which is just another thing that goes to show that there are so many fucking symptoms that come along with it that have symptoms of their own, and you're trying to tell us that you suffer from nothing to do with it except a few small things. Bullshit! All of your fucking medical procedures you had done as a child were because of that. Yet you want to put out a different narrative. I know. I understand. You're a liar. That's what liars do. But let's go over what the definition of a pathological liar really is. Pathological lying is when someone lies, but it's frequent and repeatedly and often without real reason or gain. Okay? In ways that seem impulsive or automatic or, not fully planned out, just like off the top of their head, right? Even when the lies are easily disproven or when telling the truth would be easier, they still lie, with little to no guilt or shame about it, because I do believe that Gypsy Rose has sociopathic tendencies. So I do believe that, with that being said, that she would, lie and not have any guilt or shame about it. The lies can range from small exaggerations to completely fabricated, full-out stories. Okay? Which we know Gypsy to often do. I mean, here's some examples I will show you here.
She was constantly treating me like a child, buying me Barbie dolls, buying me dress-up clothes. there is hope, as you were mentioning, but talk about your time in prison.
Yeah. Why are we at?
Wow. But guess what? She wrote to her dad in a prison email that she saw.
I wonder if she's pissed off at Melissa Moore for making her look like a fool. Maybe that's Melissa Moore's.
Until they did the biopsy and the doctor made her stand up, and that's when Dee Dee found out she was lying. I'll put part 2 next.
Blame drugs. I don't blame anything. I don't make excuses.
Vampire, you know. Yeah. And Miss Rose goes on to say, if we have a girl
to sit down and go watch her previous interviews, so she knows what to say, because she does nothing but constantly.
From Katrina survivors.
Okay.
And that I was in a wheelchair from the get-go. And he seemed accepting. He was like, it doesn't matter to me.
Creating a false and misleading medical history that does not reflect my true health.
On the hearing test, these are some other things you may see: seizures, schizophrenia, gastro problems, urinary tract problems.
Remember, it's also noted other places in the file. Mom doesn't remember because of a head trauma that she experienced in a car wreck.
This is about a month and 2 weeks after she committed the murder, okay? She tells her aunt and uncle that Nicholas was her boyfriend, and the media is making
you know what, everywhere. And y'all didn't see.
I mean, they're also often told, especially narcissists, make the liar look more important or more impressive to whatever audience they're telling the lie to. And they want the listener to believe a certain narrative. You know what I mean? But why do people even begin pathological lying? And in Gypsy's case, we know that she's obviously got the 1Q21.1 microdeletion, and there are factors that play into that, which I believe that she's got the schizophrenic tendencies as well, which often lead to having underlying pathological lying just because of that alone. Personality disorders would cause it, like borderline or BPD. Like, I believe that Amberlynn very much has an issue with pathological lying. She claims to have BPD, right? So if you have BPD, pathological lying is part of it. But don't tell her that, because she'll start using it as an excuse. Like, there's antisocial, which is sociopathy. There's historic personality disorders. That all include chronic lying as a part of the issue. And the patterns and behaviors that go into pathological lying. That these people often don't even think about it, really. They just lie and lie and lie. And that's why it's very hard for a pathological liar to keep up with their lies, to be able to keep on remembering what lie they told here, where, whatever. And that's why there's so many different conflicting stories that Gypsy Rose is told, because she's a pathological liar. And there's a science behind all of this, you guys. This is educational research that I've done, everyone. Okay? Basically researching why Gypsy Rose sucks. She sucks ass. So, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if she does it for real. I'm just saying she sucks. We'll leave it at that. So Gypsy lies not only to corroborate her other lies, and it all just tumbles together. You know what I'm saying? No one is that calculated to be able to remember it all. Like, okay, I got this video here from True Crime Perspective, and he puts a very, very good spin on it and talks about the lying that Gypsy Rose does.
So one thing we've seen with the recent FOIAs is Gypsy Rose's prison emails, and there's been a lot to go through. There's thousands of these freaking things, and let's just say, like, those of us with 9-to-5 jobs or jobs that have a lot of hours that we have to, commit to, we don't have time to sit and go through all these. But one was brought to my attention today that kind of spoke volumes about Gypsy Rose herself, and I think this one needs to be brought a little more awareness than we've seen. In fact, I think I've only seen maybe one, maybe two content creators actually bring this one up, but I wanted to bring this one up and see what you guys thought about it. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to you. I'm going to read it to you, and let's see what you guys think. Now, once again, it's a little bit unknown of who the recipient of this email is, or who the correspondent that this is going to is, but I'm going to read verbatim what it says, at least the most important part of this. I am writing this. I'm going to start at the very top of this, and we're going to get down to the part where I think it's most relevant, and then it just kind of trails off into pretty much nothingness, nothing relevant. But I am writing this with true love and compassion. Both I will always have for you. I waited 2 hours standing in line to call you last night, and did call more than a few times, and sorry I was getting irritated. Granted, you could have fallen asleep, so it's cool if you did. However, you're acting shady. And then here's the little bombshell part, I think. I spent 24 years of my life a pro at acting, hiding, and lying. So what makes you think that you can lie to me? Do with that what you will. Now, I would just like to take a little bit of a note here that there's one thing that she did not say when it comes to this whole admitting that she's a liar part. She didn't say, like, you know what, my mom taught me how to be this way, even though that might be, you know, somewhat of the truth. I always think the truth is somewhere down the middle. I'm sure her mom, you know, kind of showed her the way on, you know, how some of these cons and grips work. But you want to know what? She's actually putting this on the person that she's talking to as, like, you know what, I got this experience. It's almost like she's bragging in a way, saying, like, you know what, I got the experience of being this, like, massive liar, and I can pick up on this better than anyone else. And you want to know what? It takes one to know one. And when it comes to, you know, Gypsy Rose herself, boy, we're not going to disagree there. So it's not like she's saying this as, like, you know what, it's unfortunate that, you know, I was taught to be like this, like my mom, so, you know, therefore I know how to, you know, pick up on these kind of situations or symptoms or these kind of personality traits. Nope, there's no blame shifting. There's no, like, hey, you know, I was just kind of groomed into knowing how this works and it's unfortunate. It's just like, no, she's kind of like shoving it in this person's face, saying, like, you know what, I'm a master manipulator. There's no way you're getting this past me. It takes one to know one, says Gypsy Rose. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is just Gypsy just kind of just, you know, running off at the mouth and just kind of being a little bit too confident about her skills, so you could say? I have people skills. You know, when it comes to the whole lying and hiding and conniving and everything else that she's talking about? Or do you think that this is just, you know, her just, you know, just this is just part of her victimhood, and I guess she's just kind of utilizing it and just kind of like calling somebody out by saying, like, you know, I've been through this kind of experience. You still think she's just this little helpless victim that didn't choose to be this way? She just ended up being this way because, you know, mommy unalived and dearest, you know, turned her into such a person. I don't know. I have a feeling that Gypsy Rose was kind of bragging during this. It had sort of a bragging sort of edge to it. She was, you know, talking a little bit aggressively during this. It's not like she was saying this very subtly. So I'm gonna have to go with, I think Gypsy Rose was kind of refusing to have a taste of her own medicine. She's just like, She's just like, you know what? If anyone's gonna be lying, conning, and conniving and deceiving, it's gonna be me, and you're not gonna get over on me with this because I am the expert in this department. So you want to know what? Once again, we have Gypsy outing herself as, you know what? I'm the master manipulator. I'm the master liar at this. Don't you dare show me up. So if there's going to be a liar and conniver Olympics, Gypsy Rose herself has crowned herself the winner. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a FOIA email or from the prison, you know, files that we're looking at now that stands out just a little bit? Hey, this is her describing herself, so it's not like we're making this up. These are her own words, so you guys judge it as you want. I'm going to give this to you, and you guys can still believe that she's a victim of all this, and her mom just, you know, turned her into this, you know, conniving, lying monster. I'm not saying she had no part in this to play at all, but at the same time, I'm just thinking, like, you know, Gypsy Rose just kind of became her own monster after her mom, I think, like, just sort of spoiled her to death, you know what I mean? She kind of spoiled her into oblivion, didn't teach her what accountability was, didn't really say the word no, and basically, you know, taught her that, you know, you just scream loud enough, you throw a big enough tantrum, you con people enough, and you can get what you want. And, you know, we know that both of them used to steal stuff out of stores. They used to tell false stories about, you know, the illnesses and everything else to get all the foundations to put them on all these, you know, grandiose trips and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to her saying that she's got 24 years experience of this, yeah, I 100% believe her. And, you know, these are her own words again. So you have to take her at her own words. So no one put these words in her mouth. No one is putting these out of context. These are her own own words from her own emails. So what do you guys think about this? Talk about it in the comments. Do you still think she's a victim? Or do you think she's actually telling the truth about herself right here? Do you actually think this is for once having some self-awareness and just kind of using it as more of an intimidation factor? What do you think?
But with Gypsy Rose, you can't, you can't lie to the master of the lies. You know what I'm saying? But Gypsy started to realize in the interrogation room that her lies weren't being bought. Nobody was, the detective was not on the page with her. He was done with her bullshit. And he said he didn't want any more to do with it. He was done. He didn't believe her. She was lying and lying and lying.
Do you ever do anything on the computer? Do you ever play games or anything on the computer? Do you ever mess with the computer or anything like that?
I don't really have a computer,
Okay.
no.
Did you ever have a cell phone that you played around on or anything like that? No? Okay. No laptop or cable
My
wire or
mom
anything?
didn't let me use one because she was like, it's unsafe. So
Oh, really? Why did she feel like that was unsafe?
My mom tended to be overprotective.
Okay.
But,
All right. It's understandable. I want to tell you that what I've got to talk to you about, if you're involved in this, then you need to tell me that now. Okay?
I'm completely 100% honest.
And let me talk for just a second, okay? But if you're involved in this, then you need to be honest with me. You need to tell me now and not wait till later. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to understand that there's just some things going on that you need to be made aware of, and I think that you're aware of it. Okay. All right. My concern at this point. Let me back up with something. You're here. Do you know where you're at right now?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you at right now?
I'm at the Waukesha Police Department.
Okay. All right. And how did you lived in Missouri at one point, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How did you get from Missouri to here?
Not about a week ago. It was it all started when I met my boyfriend Nick. Okay. And we met on an online dating website. My mom had a laptop, and so I used hers.
Okay.
But
let me back up for just a second, okay? Earlier when I said let's be honest with each other, okay? I'll be honest with you as long as you're honest with me, okay? And I want you to understand that your honesty goes a long ways, okay? You don't want something in this nature to be like a big snowball. We'll use that as an example, okay? You don't want that snowball to be so big that you know how when you pack a snowball and it's real small. And what happens when you start rolling down a hill? It gets bigger, okay? And what happens if you start telling lies? They get bigger. And you don't remember which ones you said and which ones you told. And as soon as that thing gets so big, it goes down the bottom of the hill and it crashes into a lot of people, okay? A lot of people, all right? And it hurts a lot of people, right? Because it's so big and crashes and hurts them. Now, if you're telling the truth, that's not going to happen. Is that right? Okay, so that's kind of why I want you to be honest with me about this, okay? About some things, all right?
Absolutely.
So we need to, I'm here, okay? Because I don't think that this is something that you, the intention wasn't there. I don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. I think that you're a smart person, okay? I think that you sometimes you get dealt bad hand, and I think sometimes that's what's happened with you, okay? And I want you to understand that you need to be honest with me. And if you're involved in anything that I'm about ready to tell you, then you need to tell me, okay? Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom's passed away, okay? And she's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay. Hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? I want you to understand something, okay? Remember the snowball that we talked about? You remember the pencil that we talked about? I'm going to demonstrate something with the pencil here, okay? Look at me. Look at me for just a second, okay? Sometimes people are going along, you know how you got a pencil? You got the lead here and you got the eraser right here, right? You know what I'm talking about? You've seen a pencil, right? You've used a pencil before, right? Okay. And when you write with a pencil, you write your own story, right? Okay. And you take that pencil and you're writing along with your story. Well, sometimes some people make mistakes when they write stuff down, don't they? We've all made mistakes. You've made mistakes. I've made mistakes, right? You ever made a mistake in your life? And I've made mistakes in my life. And hang on just a second, okay? When you're writing this stuff down, all of a sudden you make a mistake. Well, what do you do with that mistake? You take that pencil and you flip it over and you start erasing stuff, okay? And you erase it and you recorrect it. And you take that pencil and then you rewrite your story, okay? And I think that's where you're at with this tonight, okay? That you have a chance to rewrite your story. And I think that's what you can do, is you can rewrite your story tonight, okay? Like I said earlier, I don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. I don't think that's you at all. And you're not out here, doing things that are so bad that nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to be around you. I don't think that's you, okay? But what I do think, okay, is there's some stuff going on that you and I need to talk about. And why these things happen, okay? And that's where we're at with this, okay? Now, I want you to understand something. That you need to be, look at me, okay? Look at me for just a second, okay? You're in a situation where you can help yourself right now, okay? And that's what you need to do, okay? You've got to help yourself, okay? Because the more and more you let that snowball roll down that hill and get bigger, what's going to happen is it's going to explode. And that's what's going to happen with you, you know? You don't want that, do you? I don't think you do. I wouldn't want that. So we've got to rewrite history. We've got to rewrite some things, don't we? Okay? And I think that's where we're at with all this, all right? What happened with your mom that night?
I don't know what happened with my mom at all.
Okay, just listen to me, okay, sweetheart? You know what happened to your mom, okay? You know exactly, sweetheart, listen to me. Let's not go down that road of taking your pencil and writing a bunch of mistakes down. And then when you get to a certain point, that paper's gone, and guess what? You can't erase it, can you?
No.
You can't erase it anymore. Do you want that?
Yes.
I don't think you do.
Yes.
I think you're smart enough to understand where we're at with this, okay? I think you know, okay? And I know that you know, all right? I wouldn't be here if I didn't know. And I know the answer to a lot of these questions, okay? I already know them, okay? I know them, and I'm giving you a chance to be honest with me.
It didn't matter if he brought it up to her and totally confronted her. She would bring up something else and lie again. I found a TikTok where Gypsy Rose actually admits, for once, to being untruthful, especially in the television interviews. She lied so much in those interviews, and she totally admitted that in one of the emails that she has. But I don't think she ever tells the full truth about anything.
You ever notice how a narcissist always has a story, but somehow the details never add up? Narcissists lie, not just occasionally, not just to get out of trouble. They lie pathologically. It's in the way they build their world, a fantasy, one where they're always the hero or the victim, never the villain. These lies aren't just about facts, they're about identity. A narcissist lies to protect their fragile ego. They can't handle being wrong, being criticized, or being seen as anything less than perfect. So what do? They rewrite reality. They gaslight. They deny. They project. They twist your words until you start to question your own memory. And here's the dangerous part. They believe their own lies. To them, truth is flexible. As long as it makes them look good or keeps them in control, it becomes the truth. If you call them out, they'll flip the script. Suddenly, you're the liar. You're the crazy one. That's not by accident. That's psychological warfare. Dealing with a narcissist means you're never just having a conversation. You're in a mind game. And the longer you stay, the more you lose your grip on what's real. The only way to win is not to play. Spot the lies, trust your gut, and walk away with your truth intact.
She never would. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not... She's got to have some mystery in the mix. You know what I'm saying? She claims that the supposed rape, or R word, I should say, that she went through was fabricated because it was a fantasy.
Sandra, you know what's alarming about you and Gypsy Rose? Is that we can point out and show you where Gypsy Rose lied. Y'all will still be like, she was a victim. We ain't even talking about the victim shit right now. We're talking about the fact that she fucking lied and was telling Nick she wanted him to rape her mother. Gypsy said that shit to Nick. And since Gypsy has gotten free, she has spun a narrative that, oh no, he wanted to rape my mother's unalive body, when it was Gypsy trying to get him to do this. Or how about how she said that Nick raped her?
He raped her. She's actually said that on national TV. She now admits that's not true, that he didn't rape her, that it was consensual sex.
The fact that y'all are just okay with Gypsy Rose lying and saying that Nick raped her, lying and saying that Nick wanted to rape her mom's unalive body, which wasn't true, it was Gypsy. How about the fact that Gypsy lied on another inmate while she was in prison and told them that the inmate raped her? That woman had trouble getting out of prison until Gypsy recanted her fucking story and told them it was a lie. She didn't rape me. And y'all will completely overlook all of that shit. Oh, she was a victim. How do you even know that? When one of her emails to Nick says she was the one lying to her mom starting at the age of 6 when she had a seizure that caused temporary paralysis. In that email, Gypsy Rose admits to never telling her mom anything about the feeling in her legs coming back until 2011 when Gypsy Rose ran off with a 36-year-old man when she was 19. But y'all are dead set on, oh, it was all Dee Dee. And no, it wasn't. It was Gypsy Rose Blanchard too. Gypsy Rose has a damn microdeletion that be deletioning like a mofo. Back in 2014, Gypsy Rose Blanchard told her neighbor, Aaliyah Wood-Monzi, all about that damn chromosome deletion and that it was causing all of her medical issues. You said that doctors and experts looked at Gypsy Rose's medical file. No, they did. Gypsy didn't go to trial, so therefore no experts were called in to look at her medical documents. You know who did talk on her medical documents? Her attorney. And you know what never came up? The chromosome deletion. Her attorney didn't say nothing about that damn chromosome deletion and made everybody think she was just perfectly healthy. Gypsy Rose has come out and said, oh, I have microcephaly, I have the strabismus, I have scoliosis, all symptoms of the microdeletion. And when Gypsy Rose was asked by Christy Blanchard, why did you not get up and walk? She didn't say because my mom would abuse me. She said because there's some things people wouldn't forgive me for or forgive us for. Christy said she didn't get up and walk because she thought people would hate her. If all this shit was unnecessary, the surgeries, the tests, why would no fucking attorney touch Gypsy Rose's malpractice suit? Back in 2017, Christy tried to file one and no one would touch it. Why? Because her microdeletion explains all her damn symptoms. What you should look into, Cassandra, is moms who get accused of having Munchausen by proxy when it's really their kid having some crazy ass genetic disorder. This ain't all alleged. That shit's from the evidence, the trial, and that's Gypsy Rose right there admitting to her damn microdeletion. This is for entertainment purposes only, honey, my opinion, but she did that shit.
But yet she had originally tried to make people believe that it was malicious. And those were Gypsy Rose's own fucking words. Now, even Gypsy Rose's lawyer lied on Gypsy's behalf. I know that his job as a criminal defense attorney and everything like that, his sole purpose was to save her murderous ass. And he's the one that came up with the Munchausen by proxy. That's not true. And, he still walks with her to this day as her manager.
Gypsy Rose's attorney is a defense attorney, so that's what he does, is he fabricates truth. He bends them to benefit his client, to get them the best deal. Mr. Stanfield always talks about how he went all through Gypsy Rose's medical documents. He talks about how she went through years of abuse and unnecessary medical procedures. He always leaves Gypsy's microdeletion out. Even in Mommy, Dad, and Dearest, he has Christy and Rod sitting at this table. All these medical documents spread out. Shows them where that doctor says, possible Munchausen by proxy. But then he leaves out where the doctor also says in the same damn sentence or some other underlying etiology explaining symptoms. At that time, Gypsy's microdeletion wasn't even diagnosed. So there really was a condition explaining Gypsy's symptoms. Still, Mike Stanfield never brings up Gypsy Rose's microdeletion when not only is it in her medical documents that he had and he says he went all through, but it's shown on one of her damn documentaries. Gypsy Rose acts like she didn't know anything about it. The media was also involved in, keeping this kind of hush-hush. This is a Facebook message from Gypsy to her neighbor Aaliyah Woodward. This is what they printed in an article of the original message. As you can see right here, it talks about what they'll name their kids. Right here, what they'll name their kids. Come down here, and Gypsy tells Aaliyah, her neighbor, I found out I had a chromosome deletion that's causing all my health issues. I'm a fighter. In the media, they don't mention that. They don't mention it in anything until literally pretty recently. Gypsy only admitted to it now because so many people had seen her medical records, she couldn't deny it any longer. Mike Stanfield played a huge part in her being able to keep that microdeletion secret for as long as she did. So many people just probably assumed it was one of her mother's fake diagnoses. He built his whole damn career basically around Gypsy Rose's case. If you look up Mike Stanfield, Gypsy Rose comes up. I don't think he so much lied, but he definitely omitted some truth to get Gypsy Rose her plea deal. That's something we see in Gypsy Rose's emails that she admits to doing. She said she omits things to make her look better. Maybe old Mike Stanfield told her, you can't be lying. You can omit things. You don't have to say this, that, and third. Sounds like some shit an attorney would say to a person like Gypsy.
So I want to know what really is their relationship, to be honest with you. It's really fucking weird. And her lawyer even came into this as a public fucking defender. I mean, I that really, really makes me think that maybe their relationship was a little bit more. Some people find like Gypsy Rose to have some kind of weird attractiveness to her, like because she's like got that little kid. I don't know. But then Gypsy Rose tried claiming that Nick was the one that introduced her to the role playing and everything like that. But that's not true either because Dan Glidewell threw her under the bus with that too.
Gypsy Rose, you took the stand and you said you weren't in a relationship with Dan. In Dan Gladwell's deposition, they asked him, was he in a relationship with you? And Dan said, well, yeah. Not only did he admit to being in a relationship with you, but he told him how you had personas with him too. You were role playing with him before Nick. He was very shy, timid. I might even go as far as to say submissive. Ain't that some shit, Gypsy? Asked Dan, is it typical of someone to be a submissive or dominant in this role play? Ask, how does that work? And says, power exchange. Yeah. Would describe her as being submissive. Yes. Is that something you asked her to be? No. Is that the role she chose? And Gladwell then testifies, if I'm being honest, I developed a taste for it from her. When you say developed a taste for it, what do you mean? Power exchange play. Gypsy been into that shit way before Nick. Attorney asked Dan Gladwell if Gypsy introduced him to this. He says, no, not introduced to. I was aware of it, but never had a front row seat to it. Gypsy put this man onto it. Then asked if Gypsy sent him pictures of herself, naked. And says, yeah, and she would dress up and put on costumes. By the way, I got this from MPG Cornerstone. Check out their YT. Plenty of great info. Then asked Dan, did she ever use a name? Like a character name? Role-playing name, a character name. He says, yeah. Do you recall what that name was? Or, I don't. Were there multiple names? Uh-huh. She had multiple personas with fucking Dan, way before Nick. This is happening back in 2011. Or did she just have one name? No, there were multiple. I do remember at one point she asked for me to help her come up with one. Okay, but I don't remember what it was. What point did you have an impression? What age did Gypsy tell you she was? And says, okay, so you know about my injury. I don't know. She told me she was over 18. I know that when she came to the hospital, she had an entire notebook full of ID. They asked Dan, do you remember how it came about that she ended up at the hospital? He says, I don't remember who called who. My brains were scrambled. I couldn't read. She would have almost had to have contacted me because I didn't think I could dial my phone at the time. Okay, and my cousin was there to look at the ID for me. He asked if he ever asked her to stop calling him. First he said, I never flat out told her to stop. And then he says, well, yeah, eventually I did. When she called me from prison, I was like, hey man, we need to just stop fucking talking. And also said he tried to stay as far away from this whole fucking thing as he could. The HBO did reach out to him, flat out told him, no, I want nothing to do with them. Dan was actually fighting for his kids, and he talks about this. Like I said, it's on MPG Cornerstone's YT. Definitely go check it out, because it proves that Gypsy was into all that weird shit way before she got with Nicholas.
And he said, no, she's the one that even had me try to name one with her. A new character in the mix of her role play. Gypsy's the one that gave Dan a taste for what he kind of gets into nowadays, I'm guessing. But Gypsy Rose's public defender never even announced that she had the 1Q21.1 microdeletion, probably because he didn't want people to look into it and see that she very much had the medical procedures done for a reason. But he's also the one that lied and came up with the Munchausen by proxy without any proof. Made a doctor go up on the stand and lie and say that he said that she had it. And diagnosed her after death. How is that? I just don't understand.
Gypsy, are you really doing this right now? So a couple of hours ago, you decided to post this old picture of your medical records saying, my time to heal. Funny that more medical records came out proving you to be a liar, and now you decide to post this again. Your medical records prove you were not medically abused. What are you doing right now? Do you know how bad this looks for you? And here you are trying to promote your book again, your book of lies. Your medical records prove you were never medically abused and your mother did not have MBP. I would suggest maybe stop bringing attention to it and get offline. You are slandering your mother every day, Gypsy. The audacity you have to say, my time to heal, when your mother is fucking dead because of you. Your mother who did nothing but take care of you and kept your ass alive. Shame on you. Gypsy, are you really doing this right now?
And that's purposely withholding important information that would have sealed the fate of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. He knew this. So Gypsy Rose doesn't care who she lies to or who she hurts in the mix. She even lied to her about her own grandfather, who's 80-something years old, sexually assaulting her.
As much as people want to sit there and defend Gypsy Rose and believe her stories, everyone has got to admit one thing. There is no proof that she was SA'd by Claude. There is no proof that she was chained up to a bed by Dee Dee. You all want to sit there and come into comments and say, oh, where are the facts? Where are the facts? Where's the proof? Somebody show me the proof that Claude SA'd Gypsy Rose. Now we know, you have to admit, I don't care if you support her or not, you have to admit the woman is a compulsive liar. She admits to being a liar, and you can see that she is caught in lies constantly. So we're going to take this woman at her word, and we're going to accuse a man well into his 80s now of SAing his granddaughter. And you're okay with that. You are all okay with that. I mean, don't go after Gypsy Rose. Don't accuse her of anything, but it's okay to accuse a man of SAing his granddaughter with absolutely no proof. Or to sit there and accuse Dee Dee of beating and chaining her child to a bed with absolutely no proof. Y'all are wild. You want to sit there and defend her and say, come with proof, come with proof. Meanwhile, not a single person can come with proof with any of Gypsy Rose's allegations. I'm just saying.
That's sick. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to do that to somebody that's 80-something years old? Is on his last leg? Just leave the man alone. And there's no proof. So you're basically accusing this man based off of your word. Your word doesn't mean anything, Gypsy Rose. Baba, hang on. And Gypsy Rose loves playing the victim role so much that she will lie to be able to keep on playing the victim.
Is it possible that Gypsy Rose Blanchard's public defender attorney, Mike Stanfield, lied or withheld information from the medical records, ended up giving Gypsy Rose the sweetest plea deal that essentially taught her nothing? Because apparently Mike Stanfield was ready and willing to lie on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard on camera in the documentary Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. He lied about key information within the medical records in order to manipulate the public and anyone who watched that documentary into believing that Gypsy was medically abused, and they didn't correct it. Let's look at what he said in the documentary, and then let's go to the actual medical records to see how he lied.
Talking to the doctor here, and she's talking about how she has mental and developmental delays, needs assistance. Apparently, while holding her hands over Gypsy's ears so as not to offend history of mental retardation, 7-year-old level per mom. And so this was the one time where a doctor actually put in the record that Dee Dee's got her hands over Gypsy's ears. So Gypsy can't even hear what mom is telling the doctor. Then we get into the family history. The family history changed depending on what doctor she was at. You'll notice here, there's not a good... She ends up going to the...
This is the actual medical record that the attorney is quoting from. So let's actually read what it says. Paraplegic, needs assistance for activities of daily living, has some difficulty with fine motor control, can write and feed self, but mother describes as clumsy while holding hand over Gypsy's ears as not to offend, period. Then history of mild mental retardation. So you know, if period parentheses are before the period, it doesn't apply to the next sentence. So she covered Gypsy's ears so that Gypsy wouldn't be offended by her mom calling her clumsy. Not because Dee Dee was hiding information and Gypsy just had no idea what was going on. So this was at a time where the lawyer was asked to give mitigating information for Gypsy Rose's case. And then the same document that he's reading from, you know, Gypsy's claims as to that she could never speak. It was always her mom. She just had to sit there and be quiet. If she spoke too much, her mom would get mad. Read this sentence right below me. It says, NAD, wheelchair-bound, very pleasant and cooperative. Vocabulary seems more advanced than second grade. Fluent and engaging, extremely polite. So if Gypsy was also not allowed to speak to the doctors or even hear what's going on, how would they know that she has a higher vocabulary than that of a second grader? So then the attorney goes on to basically say that this was another huge piece of information where the doctor writes in bold that the mother is not a good historian. Why would he make that point when he has access to the records and it says over and over and over all throughout nearly every single visit, Dee Dee told them that herself. She said, I was in an auto accident and I suffered head trauma, so I have memory loss. And you know, you always hear people saying that criminal defense attorneys have no conscience and they're liars and they're bad people because of who they defend. And I don't necessarily believe that's true. There's a lot of attorneys that are really good people and actually use the truth. But this is an example of one of those bad attorneys that are liars. He just didn't think that this information would ever go public. So I want to know why. Why would he be willing to lie for Gypsy Rose Blanchard? And what did he expect to gain from doing so? Because if you pay attention, like, you can see he's still very much a part of her career right now. And that's pretty rare for especially a public defender to stick around in the way that they stay with somebody for that long. Usually if somebody has a public defender, they get sentenced and they get a new one and a different one, blah, blah, blah. But he stuck with her. That's odd. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village of liars to elevate someone like Gypsy Rose Blanchard to the platform that she has. Stanfield probably thought that he would just, you know, say whatever he needed to say and move on with it and people just wouldn't care. But, you know, now is a good time in history where we're calling people out and holding them accountable for the things that they do. And of course, I'm not offering anything about this as fact other than if somebody would lie on camera in a documentary as an attorney, why wouldn't they try to do something or withhold information from a DA or a judge? I'm sure if it was possible for Mike Stanfield to actually file a lawsuit on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard against the doctors for medical malpractice, he would have already done so, but he is well aware that he cannot do it. Because there was no malpractice. There was no hundreds of surgeries. There was only surgeries that she needed. Multiple tests came back irregular. The muscle biopsy that she says was normal, not normal. Due to her chromosome disorder, which also had a test. So I can't help but wonder if they somehow destroyed records, because I think the doctors were also in some kind of like insurance fraud thing. But I don't know. I think a lot of them knew there was something wrong with Gypsy, but they just didn't know exactly what, and they knew that Gypsy was exaggerating a lot of her symptoms, because that's in the medical records as well. And I think Gypsy enjoyed the attention, just like she does now. So it was probably her idea to shave her head whenever her mom had cancer. Because I'm sure Gypsy was well aware of the type of attention that kids with cancer get. And look what she got from it. A whole bunch of Disney trips and a whole bunch of stuff. But as an attorney, if you choose to not say something because you know it would make your client look bad, but to say something that is deliberately untrue in order to manipulate people, shows what kind of attorney that you are. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. And I'm not saying he did or did not withhold any evidence, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me since he appears to be willing to lie on camera for a documentary, knowing that people believe documentaries a lot of the time as like true factual information. Your client really learned her lesson in prison, didn't she, huh? She's doing great. Super rehabilitated. So how much did you get from it, Mike Stanfield? Just curious. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a possibility? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget the follow button and share this video so we can maybe hear back from him. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
You know what I'm saying? She will do whatever it takes to make sure that she's looked at as the victim, no matter what she's got to say or do.
If you've never been around a pathological liar, and honestly, even if you have, there's a good chance you don't truly understand just how much these motherfuckers enjoy the act of lying. People will say that they lie for absolutely no reason, but that's not true. They have a reason. They like it. They genuinely enjoy it, and they will go out of their way to put themselves in situations that they'll know they'll have to lie about later. At a certain point, it becomes an addiction that they have to tend to 24/7, or else their identity will collapse. And if you've had an addiction before, especially to like a substance, just think about some of the ridiculous things that you have done in order to get your fix of that substance, or whatever it is. They do the exact same thing with lying. They will literally go so far out of their way to put themselves into situations and just do shit that they'll have to lie about later, because they're constantly testing themselves and other people. They're constantly seeing what they can get away with, what they can't. And subconsciously, deep down, whenever they get away with a lie, they're disappointed. They get disappointed at the average person because they're not sharp enough to catch them in the act. My theory around this is that most of them grew up in households that were very strict, so they had to lie about a bunch of things and try and get away with stuff. And they learned to like that feeling. They learned to like the feeling of getting away with things. And so naturally, that's just kind of how they develop. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but every single time or next time you encounter a liar, you have to understand that there's a lot going on up here that you probably don't understand, and it's rooted in their childhood and things that you just can't see on the surface, but they're not lying for no reason. But even if they can't help it or they don't know what's actually going on in their head, you cannot tolerate liars. Don't tolerate liars. You cannot rely on them. They're not dependable. You understand, but just don't let that be an excuse or reason why you trust or befriend a pathological liar. Not worth it at all.
And she enjoys all the sympathy she gets from her stupid supporters. Her stans, if you will. Gypsy Rose would make shit up just to make it up. It's also in the records that they suspected that Gypsy Rose was malingering, like I said before. Gypsy Rose also lied just to lie on her own to her doctors, and they knew it.
I showed a little clip on Gyp Gyp where she was talking about how horrible her mother made her live, and how she was growing up and she wanted more independence. And she said she asked her mom, "Can we just take out the feeding tube?" And her mom said no. And then she's like, "Well, can we get some physical therapy to maybe help me walk better?" Why would you ask for that when you knew how to walk? Like, so it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm pretty sure that's not the conversation that was had. She said that on camera at that moment, trying to make the situation look worse. She was exaggerating. Now, earlier in my first video today, I said we mentioned the Munchausen's by proxy and the definition. Well, the definition that psychologist gave was somebody who makes up illnesses in their own heads or exaggerates their illnesses to doctors to try to get certain medications and things like that. Per his description of it, Gypsy has it too. Because we know now, it's on the doctor's written records that Gypsy was lying on her own accord. She was lying to the doctors. They said that they suspected she was malingering. Look up the definition to that. She was lying to the doctors. And for 2 years before Dee Dee died, at minimum, I'm still doing more research, but for 2 years before Dee Dee died, Gypsy was the one signing for all of her medical stuff. She signed to get those teeth yanked. She signed for it all. But she wants you to believe it was all Dee Dee. So why are you going to ask for physical therapy to help make you walk better if you know how to walk? But that explains what the doctors were saying. She was lying. Maybe she has Munchausen's too. At this point, we all really need to pray for her daughter. Because it sounds like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Because Dee Dee was supposedly like her mother. Dee Dee's mom supposedly did it to Dee Dee. Dee Dee turned around and supposedly did it to Gypsy. I'm just going to leave that one alone. Now we just showed a little clip of Gyp Gyp.
Gypsy Rose signed for all of her medical records also for 2 years before she unalived her mother. And Gypsy Rose signed for all of her medical records for 2 years before her mother was unalived. So Gypsy Rose had full control. Her mother even tried to get guardianship of her, but couldn't because Gypsy Rose wasn't, handicapped enough. She could still make her own decisions and do it for herself. Gypsy's mom's mom did this to Dee Dee, like I said before, and Dee Dee then did it to, allegedly, Gypsy Rose. The Gypsy Rose will probably go on to do it to Aurora, to be honest with you. It's a pattern. Unless Gypsy Rose breaks the cycle. But do you see that happening? Not with this absolute train wreck with her lying and all that shit.
Got some adorable little outfits. Oh. I love this stuff. I'm not considering my mom being Dee Dee Blanchard in any of my aspect of motherhood. She wasn't a good enough mom for me to take anything from her and apply it to my mothering skills.
You down this woman? She's in the grave.
But what I do have is I have a lot of people in my life like Christy. I would never hurt Mama, and I know that you probably have some questions about probably my health and what happened to Mama and stuff like this, and I'll be able to explain that whenever I'm in Missouri.
And according to definition, Gypsy Rose could be looked at to have MVP. You know what I'm saying? So will Gypsy Rose end up doing the same thing to her daughter? Who knows? And then Gypsy Rose likes to comment as Ash Blonde 6 and claim it's not her and fucking do things to Ryan, like I said in my other video, and all kinds of shit. She's just insane. But I wanted to bring up that, talk about the pathological lying and stuff like that and show you some of the most diabolical lies of Gypsy Rose's, just to keep on proving who she is as a person and why we need to keep on pushing through and show people the truth. I love you guys, and remember, things are not always what they seem. I'll talk to you later.